Joining me now, mentor and dear friend, General Jack Keane, retired four-star general, chairman of the Institute for the Study of War, Fox News strategic analyst, and Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient. I was in the room when he got it many years ago. General Keane, it's always wonderful to see you, sir. Quickly, General, this is what Aaron Cohn, you know, this special ops advisor, very smart chap. It's what he said on our show last night. I want you to react to it, please.
Right now, I can tell you from my sources that Israel is getting very close to wrapping up the little Hamas birthday present and ending it for good.
I thought that was an interesting comment. You know, he's a tough, hardened guy. You wouldn't say that if he didn't have evidence. That's why I raised the point a second time about the 130 tunnels and so forth. They seem to be doing better, let's say, the IDF. I wanted to get your take on that, Jim.
Well, certainly. I mean, the last time that they were in there with any consequences was 2014, and they've gone to school on these tunnels. They've trained on them. They have a sense of how extensive and comprehensive they are. They've got all sorts of technology to assist in this. So, I mean, he's got sources inside, and that's wonderful. Let's applaud the fact that they've taken down 130 out of about the 300 miles of this thing. Good news there, and certainly if the Israelis can end this sooner, that's good on all sides of this thing. And certainly they cannot give up on the new aim that their national leadership assigned to their military, and that is to dismantle Hamas's effective terrorist military organization, take that effectiveness away from them, and certainly dismantle the governing aspect of Hamas as well. That is a new aim, and they've got to stick with it till it's accomplished.
Do you think, I mean, I think it's a mistake probably to raise expectations too high about, you know, rapidly doing the job and this and that and the other thing. You still think it's going to take a while to get this job done, using this new mission, this new aim you spoke about. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, what they can't do is leave like they've done before, where they've set Hamas back a number of years because they've killed so many of the leaders and the fighters and the infrastructure. To dismantle an organization, the effectiveness of the entire network takes time. And we've had some experience in doing that ourselves in our 9/11 wars. But listen, we're behind the Israelis 100% here. And if they can do it faster than expected, we're all for it.
Let me turn to the issue of appeasement versus deterrence. I don't know. Look, you're the general. I'm not. I grow weary. I think these are inadequate responses. I just saw another Fox contributor, a former military man, say the same thing. Why aren't we hitting harder? Why are we hitting terrorists?
Yeah. Well, a couple things here. We've got to recognize Iran's strategic objectives is to dominate and control the Middle East and the flow of Persian Gulf oil. They have said that since the early 80s, 43 years. To accomplish that, they got two very specific objectives to accomplish that goal. One is to drive the United States military out of the Middle East, and they began that in the early 80s when the Islamic Jihad, forerunner of the Hezbollah, blew up the Marine barracks, blew up two of our embassies in the same year. And we pulled away. I'm not relitigating that decision that Ronald Reagan made. And they continue to do that throughout the years to reduce our military presence. So the second objective is to destroy the state of Israel. So you have their instrument, Hamas, conducting this brutal, savage attack, which has that as a goal, and also their proxies in Iraq and Syria, and to include Houthis, are working on the other goal. Let's get the military out of the region. And what they want is people in the United States to question, why are we still in Iraq? Why are our troops at risk? I thought we did that a few years ago. They want that kind of growing up inside the American political system, and that is to their favor. But to stop those attacks and to prevent the loss of life, I think, is what our goal should be. These little measured, deliberate strikes are not accomplishing it, as you just reported very accurately. If there is still capability there in Iraq and Syria that we can deal with and take that capability out, in other words, the instruments that they're using to attack us, and we can get access to it, do it. But if we can't do that, I would tell the Iranians, then I've got to put at risk The IRGC, which is the organization that's controlling these proxies, that directed Hamas, supported Hamas, etc., and these Iraqi and Syrian proxies, they train in the IRGC training center in Iran. We should tell them we'll take that training center down. 500 Hamas were there in September. We should also tell them we're going to put that at risk if you don't stop. The IRGC bases that support their activities are going to be at risk, as is the IRGC headquarters.
Some bases in Iraq.
They're all in Iran.
And,
Those bases,
okay.
They're all in Iran.
So why don't we? So can I ask you, sir? I don't mean to interrupt. You know this, but look, the word "don't" is all we've really gotten from the president, and I don't think "don't" conveys the clear message that you yourself just conveyed. Why not finish the sentence if you really believe that?
Well, I don't know what they have told the Iranians privately. Sometimes I understand public declarations have connotations to them. I'd give them a pass if they were telling them privately what I just said. So our audience understands. The Reagan team learned from what took place in the early 80s. So when the Persian Gulf interruption campaign began by the Iranians, remember, they want to take control of Persian Gulf oil. They started to disrupt it. Reagan hit their oil platforms, Iranian oil platforms, and he hit their IRGC bases, shut them down. When the Iranian proxies, again, were hitting our bases in Iraq and Syria and doing damage to our people, President Trump, as opposed to just dealing with the proxies themselves, he went after the man in charge of the IRGC who was directing it and had him killed. That put the Iranians back on their heels. Now, why don't we take these actions? Why doesn't the administration do what we're suggesting? Because they fear that by taking a strike at Iran, even though it's the IRGC and they are directly connected to the proxies, because it's on Iranian soil, that could provoke the possibility of a war with Iran. If you put that under a microscope, that kind of escalation, war with Iran, makes no sense. Why? For 43 years, they have been using these proxies to fight a war for them. For what reason? So they don't have to fight it themselves. They know full well if they ever got into direct conflict with the United States, they don't just lose a war, they lose their regime.
Good.
And that's not what they're going to do.
But why
now, would they hit us back if we hit them at home? Yes, of course they would, like they did with President Trump.
But, General, they've been waging war against us. They're waging war against us right now.
I agree.
They're, in effect, killing our American civilians and taking hostages. I mean, October 7th was Iran. I know it was Hamas, but it was Iran.
Of course it's Iran. And all the other proxies that they're using in the region, all to accomplish their goal, destroy the state of Israel, make it vulnerable, politically isolated, and also drive us out of the region. So all of these proxies, where they don't directly conduct the attack themselves, this has been a brilliant strategy when they started it, because never before did a country hire other people in another country to make an attack on their adversary the way they have done it consistently for 40-something years. And every president that steps into power seems to have to learn this lesson again, that what's really going on here. Iran is behind all of it. This administration has enough evidence to know what to do here. They are paralyzed by the fear that they believe that their actions will escalate and we'll be at war with Iran. I don't believe the evidence for 43 years supports that.
All right. We'll leave it there. General Jack Keane. Thank you, sir.
Good talk.